Yesterday, in our live stream analysis of what is the real reason that the United States is canceling 1.1 billion of dollars Somalia's debt, we have brought to your attention that how, first of all, for the audience to take away, first of all, to check how this loan is incurred by the Somali government, and then from where really it's coming from, where did it go, those takeaways. So now in our analysis, we said that this debt cancellation by the United States is not just coming out of nothing. There is a background. There must be behind the scene an agreement for Somalia and the United States. What is the real reason? And from historical analysis of it, we have analyzed here that the oil and gas of Somalia is the real interest of the United States. And that is what has driven Somalia eventually in 1991 to civil war, because there were four companies of the US that has signed that agreement in Somalia. And because of the war, their interest to have this oil and gas in Somalia is still something they are longing for, but eventually it has led the country to war. Now, after 30 decades, Somalia is again, becoming present in the international arena, which is really good for the country. But again, it's coming with danger. Now, Somalia is located geopolitically the most important place by the Red Sea in Horn of Africa. And recently it has signed this agreement to pact with Turkey. Now, Turkey has signed for exploration of oil and gas of Somalia, and also a defense pact which will bring the Turkish military into Somalia, and also to run the maritime and the port of Mogadishu, which is the capital of Somalia. Now, while I analyzed that yesterday in the first part, I said that now this will create a conflict of interest because Turkey is there for the oil and gas. Now, the US has said that it has canceled this debt, but always from experience, we know that in Africa, when such debt cancellation happens, usually the real reason comes later. So that real reason should be, of course, the natural resource of Somalia, which is oil and gas. Now, in 2022, we also has mentioned that this Coastline Exploration Limited of the United States has signed with President Formaggio in 2022, has to explore oil and gas in Somalia, but the signature was made only with the Minister of Petroleum in Somalia. So the president and the prime minister of Somalia were not aware of it, and they have canceled it. Because not only that they were not aware of it, but in the next few months that there was an presidential election that brought this new government, President Sheikh Hassan. So they were saying that, so there will be a change, wait, and we are not aware of it. And Coastline Exploration was not happy about it, in fact, and they wanted to take it also to a legal case. But anyway, so for 2 years, that case has been trolling. So when I concluded there, so I was almost sure that the oil and gas is the real reason for the United States to cancel the debt. But what will happen now when the United States revive that exploration of oil and gas in Mogadishu or in Somalia? Then there is also now the new picture, the new boy in town, Erdogan. President Erdogan is all over in Africa. We have their deal, almost closing deal with the uranium access in Niger, also in Senegal for oil and gas, also in other countries. So Turkey is increasing its presence, taking advantage of the weakening of Iran, and also the war, the trade war, and or you can call it a cold war between US and China in their presence in Africa. So it's taking that advantage and trying to fill the gap. Now, guess what? I said if now US, as I assumed in my analysis, is coming for oil and gas, and Turkey is already in the picture in Somalia, they have signed that deal, then there will be a conflict of interest. So that's exactly how I left my analysis here with you yesterday. Guess what? I am right. Here is what I found, an article digging into this. Just a year ago, actually, there was a tension between Turkey and the United States. Now, their confrontation comes in Syria, the group that Turkey back and the United States back, they both are different. The United States back the Kurdish group in Syria, and the Turkish government sees it as an extension of the PKK party in its country. So anything that is owned by the PKK or the next party, of which is like a Kurdish party, they try to destroy it. Guess what? I'm going to read you this article, and you will see now that why the United States is following where Turkey is going and coming after the same natural resource in Somalia that Turkey already has signed, which is oil and gas. I'm going to read for you and you will see it for yourself. First of all, I'm going to play this video, which is a 2-minute. This article was in The Guardian, and it was a 1 minute and a half with the US military chief, the guy from Pentagon, talking about the incident. Now, in that incident, a year ago, actually, the United States has shot down a Turkish drone, which is an armed drone. Now, Turkey eventually did not take at that time a responsibility of it, but the United States says it's a Turkish armed drone, and it came too close to the US military, and that's why it has shot it down. Here is the article and this 1 minute video. Listen to this.
At approximately 7:30 local time in Syria today, our forces had observed UAVs conducting airstrikes in the vicinity of Hasaka, Syria. Some of those strikes were inside a declared U.S. restricted operating zone, or ROZ, near Hasaka, and were approximately a kilometer away from U.S. forces who relocated to bunkers. At approximately 11:30 local time, a Turkish UAV re-entered the ROZ on a heading toward where U.S. forces were located. U.S. commanders assessed that the UAV, which was now less than a half a kilometer from U.S. forces, to be a potential threat, and U.S. F-16 fighters subsequently shot down the UAV in self-defense at approximately 11:40 local time. It's important to point out that no U.S. forces were injured during the incident. We have no indication that that Turkey was intentionally targeting U.S. forces. And as I mentioned, the secretary did talk to his Turkish counterpart and reaffirmed our commitment to continue to closely coordinate. Based on the discussions with the Turkish Defense Ministry,
which is run by the West, the US and European countries. It's not a member of NATO, meaning Turkey is not a member of NATO, but it's a major ally. So for the United States to shut down something owned by a major ally of NATO that is for the first time, but still it has done it. And the outcome is that the Turkish government has, refrained from taking a responsibility. In fact, just said that it's not theirs. But on the other hand, Pentagon has said that this is a Turkish drone. So there is this conflict of interest in the parties that they are supporting in Syria, and the American support, publicly, the Kurdish group, and the Turkish is against it because there's an opposition party in Turkey, and they see it just an extension of that. And in fact, they blame it also around that time. There was an attack around in the capital, in Ankara, in Turkey, like a terrorist attack, and they blamed it on the Kurdish military that came out from Syria, crossed the border and did this attack in Syria. So that armed drone was potentially was a response for that attacking to attack the Kurdish military, which was just eventually shot down by the United States. So it's really interesting. Now, the thing is that they are bringing this conflict of interest to Somalia. Okay, now they're going to confront each other in, of course, why would they do it in Turkey? Why would they do it in other countries? They're going to do it in Africa. Many of African countries are used a battle place for their proxy wars. So now, of course, America going after this oil and gas. By the way, you have to know that in 1991, when those 4 U.S. companies, oil explorers, signed that agreement with, at that time, the then president of Somalia, Ziad Barre, actually they were given 2/3 of Somalia to explore their oil and take out that oil, okay? 2/3 of the part of the country. So they are trying to revive again when this coastline exploration did that agreement 2 years ago with President Formaggio in 2022, which was actually hours after its agreement has been called off, and the government said this is not valid. So they're again and again going after Somalia's oil. But then this time there's a new boy in town, that is Turkey, and there's a conflict of interest. So now Somalia is playing really a dangerous game, attracting this, I have been saying again and again, attracting all those conflicts that is not its own, it's another country's problem. I really don't know why they keep on why the government is dragging itself into this conflict that will also harm the people of Somalia, also the people in general in Horn of Africa. It's the same thing. It's the same reputation that when it kicked out the African peacekeeping mission, the ATMIS, and replacing with Egypt. Egypt, yes, it's geographically located in Africa, but Egypt has a conflict with Ethiopia because of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. Egypt has never been good for Ethiopia. In fact, it will always do whatever is possible to stop Ethiopia from growing economically and becoming powerful in the region. It has been aligned with all the opposition parts of Ethiopia, and that's what it continues to do. Now, bringing that enemy of Ethiopia to Somalia, which Somalia has a border share with Ethiopia, is something unacceptable. Worldwide, you can't do that, but the world is watching it as it is happening. The African Union is watching it, while another potential conflict in the continent is brewing and is being made of. And Somalia has just proved it again by bringing this, so-called multinational governments, which have a different interest, which have a conflict of interest, so that will lead to another crisis. I know some of you are saying, Somalia is an independent country and it can do whatever it wants, but it shouldn't be at the cost of the people of its neighboring countries. It shouldn't be more so at the cost of its own people. So the Somalis have just got a time to have that fresh air, to aim, to dream, and to do things in their country, relocating from the diaspora and coming to Somalia. So why would you bring and drag and attract all these complications to Somalia? Yeah, again, I have to leave it for you. But as for me, there is something smelling, as I said yesterday in the part 1 analysis. So this is it. There is actually an existing confrontation for Turkey and the United States. Now that is coming to Somalia. Thanks again for tuning in. Let us know in the comment section, what do you think of this? Do you have more of these manifestations that shows a confrontation between these two countries? Please share it in the comment section. And I would love to hear also from the Somalis, what do you think of this act from your government? And from the this international, so-called international communities coming to Somalia, but really not purely to the benefit of Somalia. Let us know in the comment section. And also people from Kenya, Eritrea, those who have a concern in this. Please share the video with others. Give it a like if you find it informative enough. Subscribe to the channel. You may support this channel through our PayPal account. You can find it in the description section. It's a bye-bye for me for now, and I'll see you on the next one. Ciao.